welcome back to crying at the gym. For those girlies who like wake up with the Monday tummy aches, call them the Sunday scaries. Break out in hives when you're stressed, or have like just like unexplained injuries and like, pain and like joints not working. This one's for you. I have my fair share of stress injuries.
Funny now.
But what about you?
Anyone who knows me from the gym is like, that girl is always hurt.
True.
Like, in some ways, I'm like,
I guess in comparison, actually, I haven't had that many. But my body definitely also tells me to stop in other ways. So.
It does help, yeah. I thought when I turned 30, I was like, oh, this is just one of those things. Like, the moment I turned 30, everything started to, like, break and hurt. And I was like, really? 30? I thought I had, like, longer because that's not that old. And people are always like, oh, when things are going to hurt. I'm like, okay, but it didn't have to happen the day I turned 30. But the day I turned 30 was March. Governing. I turned 30 like a week after COVID started. Like the lockdown, and then I was in quarantine with my sisters and their kids. And it was like we were having my 30th birthday party in my sister's condo in Miami, and we were like, someone was wearing like a hazmat suit. We were playing games and fighting. Like it was fun.
It is fun. That's fun. Honestly,
I was like associating like turning 30 with all these unexplained injuries, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure life got really stressful. I was going through like
you're going through a lot.
I was going through a lot. I moved. It was COVID. Things were crazy, and I went back to the gym.
Was that after your first?
Sure was.
Okay.
So, I turned 30, things started to hurt, but I was like, oh, actually, all these other things are going on in life, and it took me a very long time and a lot of agony to realize that it was probably most likely stress related. Like the job that ultimately ended up one of the jobs that also made me like
question it all.
Yes, question it all. I was like, that's so weird. The day after I quit, the mysterious like hamstring pull that I couldn't even remember getting was gone, and this pain in my shoulder was gone, and I was like, how about you?
My body definitely like has its physiological reveals. So I definitely am the person I will break out in hives when I'm stressed. Yeah, I'm a hives girl. They're always there. And then sometimes
anxiety.
Sometimes they creep up to the face. Even like the other day, I went to the bathroom or something. Or in like middle of the workday. And I was like, oh, my cheeks are splotchy.
Oh shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Another like non-injury wise, I recently went on a weight loss journey, which was intentional, but was also expedited by the Monday tummy aches. Because
she's like, due for a cleanse. Let's amp up the stress.
I was so nauseous on Mondays I wouldn't eat because I'm so anxious.
Shoot.
So
the involuntary, the involuntary diet.
Yeah. Like, so it's not just injuries.
Jeez. No, I feel that. It's like, yeah, it's not just injuries. It's like hives, shaking. Like the way I like the out of body experience of watching my body like shake in a situation and being like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I used to be a shaker.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while.
I hadn't done any of these things in a long time, like childhood. And I think that for me was like, I feel as though all the signs are there that I am in a threatening situation I shouldn't be in anymore, because that's how my body responds, or a lot of people's bodies respond in a situation like that. I was just like trembling, and I'm like, nothing's even happening at this point. Anyway.
Yeah. It's not like I break out in hives every time I like public speak. Like,
yeah.
I recently gave a minute honor speech and it was fine. But and that like very personal details, like in a room full of a bunch of people I didn't know. But like work related.
Oh, in an environment where there wasn't a lot of trust and you didn't feel safe and you felt really highly anxious all the time. For example. Yeah, I feel like there's been so many times where I've just been like, what is going on with my body? Like, there's like the common cold, there's all these things. There's your biannual bronchitis is not.
I probably talked about that.
That probably was a physiological response to the stress and all. So it's probably also another example. But like, there have been times where I'm like,
I cannot even identify what this is. And I'm like, should I go to what doctor? Do I like, well, I definitely Googled it. And I'm like, well, I'm either dying or I'm fine. Um, and then I'm like, unfortunately, I'm fine, but the symptoms remain. Like,
Yeah, like there
I,
is no way to feel it.
yeah. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, I just don't know.
I'm just in pain.
Yeah. And I've like also gone through the stage of trying to pretend like it's not there. I'm like, well, no, it's just, I guess it'll just blow over. We don't know what it is. So, has there ever been a time for you where you're just like, I've got like these symptoms or an injury or something going on with my body that you can't directly link to like an event or like, for example, my wrist was hurt. I know what I did to get that. I know what I did to deserve that. But like the difference between like, oh yeah, I was working out and this happened. People are like, oh, what happened? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
No, so like actually beginning of 2025. What a time. Then since then.
I'm like, that's
That's
so
this
long
year.
ago.
Yeah.
I'm like way back in.
Yeah. But and I mean it's still going on.
Yeah.
But I started having these red hip pains. Yeah. And I've been calling it my stress injury because genuinely, I have no idea when it actually started. But it was definitely like I definitely didn't always have it. And it'll like come and go. And I won't do anything to like get rid of it. It'll just be like during particularly stressful times at work. It'll just like flare up. And I remember like during Murph prep, it hurt so badly like 2 weeks before Murph that I couldn't even run 200 meters. But then like 2 weeks later during Murph, I've ran miles during.
But then 2 weeks after our friend, we were gonna have workout and we biked because it hurt again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it just like
I think on your hip and your
yeah.
stressing your journey with you.
And then it wasn't until you started talking about like your like weird shoulder injury that you call your
I was
stress
like, no,
injury.
it's just stress.
But I was like, I'm sure that's the answer.
All you have to do is fix your entire life.
Yeah.
And that'll go away.
Mm-hmm. But I think so. I mean, I actually haven't gone to a doctor or anything like that. So,
well, it's like you can go down the route of like doctor, and it will help. Like if you got PT, it will help, but it's like not really sustainable help if it's coming from like stress or trauma. Like
and just like stored tension.
Yeah.
Like
or like the physical stuff's not going to help unless you are also doing like the mental emotional work to or getting out of whatever situation made you feel that, because that's in my experience. I mean, I can't not qualified to say.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that I've experienced a lot of unexplained. I would go to the doctor and they're like they could recommend PT. That did help. But it's like at the end of the day,
only does so much.
Yeah. It only does so much on its own without addressing some bigger issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like talking about listening to those things, and like we Google our symptoms, but like that's only gonna get us so far.
Yeah.
Like, and
I mean, I have no reason for thinking my hip pain is like actually a stress injury besides like just like I'm guessing. I think I'm not. I haven't Googled anything. I'm just
someone's like, get this girl to stop giving advice and talking to people.
I'm like, I literally I haven't Googled it at all. I've just been like, that sounds right.
Brooke, you could have like a blood clot and it's my fault.
I don't think
Michelle's gonna be so
I don't think a blood clot would
Don't listen to
manifest
me.
that way.
I don't know. Google's a crazy place. Reddit told me you might have a blood clot. Or I mean, it's only as good as your doctor.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. That's frustrating too. Like there are some really good doctors who do it, and then there's like
actually listen and like will like work with you versus like
I have been to doctors for years with all that was going on. Like I don't even love going to the doctor, but I had to. And then I ended up in PT. Yeah, my PT she was younger and newer to being a PT, but like I actually loved that because she was like doing research all the time and really trying to get to the root of the issue. She wasn't just like, all right, well, we'll just do these few exercises and this and this and this and do that, 5 times a week for this many times a day. And she was like, okay, well, like, here's how your body reacts to this and like your nervous system. And like, she was just like looking at it like big picture. And I really appreciated that because you go to like a specialist for certain things. They are really specialized, but like I always feel like we're missing the mark on the full big picture.
So this is actually funny, because I went to the gynecologist last June. TMI for our middle listeners.
I know.
But
You lost us.
but and I was with a gynecologist and she was like, oh, just like yeast infections, blah blah blah. Fast forward a year, I decided to go to a different gynecologist, same practice. It was not yeast infections, it was an autoimmune disorder.
Oh, cool. We love that. I got a referral for like, oh, you tested abnormal levels, you probably have like you have to go to a rheumatologist to test for like various autoimmune diseases. And I was like, great. So I called this other doctor's office and the receptionist is like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. She's like, yeah, we've had so many referrals. We don't have that many rheumatologists or specialists in the area. She's like, there's been a huge like influx in the amount of referrals we've got for this. She's like, and I'm not surprised that everyone's got an autoimmune disease because everyone is stressed out. It's our culture, it's our environment. And she went on this whole, she's like, but I don't, but she's like, but don't ask me. I was like, fine, I'm gonna do what I do and deep dive and hyperfixate on like more holistic remedies and like listening to podcasts and like doing the research for all the things that we know, like certain diets and reducing stress, meditating, this, like all the thing. I'm like, I mean, it's as good a try as any. We should trust doctors and they have a very important job. But there's also like a lot more that we've always need to be aware of other than like take your vitamins and if you're sick take medicine. Like your nervous system dysregulation is like being talked about more and more and more, and I love to see it because I'm like, oh, that sounds like what I'm experiencing, and it's very like primal and makes sense. Like your body will react to different things in different ways, and trying to like do what you can to control that is like, sorry, I got distracted. is sometimes all you can do while you wait for answers, and if you even get any. There's some. So if I may geek out for a moment on one of the deep dives I did, an effort to regulate my nervous system. If you can tell, it's dysregulated. No, I am I listening to all the podcast journey?
Yeah.
There was one, I don't remember which podcast, but the guest was a person named Sarah Baldwin.
Okay.
And she was a trauma coach and she talks about polyvagal theory, I believe. Polyvagal theory. And basically there's the 3 different states that your body is in. Like we've all heard of like fight or flight, but it's kind of like those types of responses, right? And she goes into like all the different she goes into kind of the history or like primitively why we respond the way we do. So first, or there's 3 states, and like, so the ventral vagal state, that's the one you want to be in. That's when your nervous system is more calm, you can problem solve, you feel a sense of safety. Oh, we want that. We love her.
Ideal.
Yes, ideal. We go for her. Sympathetic is your fight or flight. That's when you're feeling anxiety, you're scanning for threats, you're on high alert. She sounds familiar. And then there's the dorsal state, which is essentially catatonic. Like that's the like play dead, like something is so threatening that you have to be like, you feel like you have to like just completely disembody. And like they all serve a purpose in certain situations, but the last 2 are supposed to only be in like more extreme situations, like in threatening situations. Where so if your nervous system is not regulated, it's probably because you're not in like an environment where safety is feeling like an option or feeling like something that is vital at that time. Can you think of a time like you've been in either or all of those situations?
Yeah, so I was actually as you were saying that, I was like, this sounds so familiar. But
I know your face was like,
I was like, oh,
safety,
I feel seen.
anxiety,
Yeah.
catatonic.
But no, literally, I feel like in some work environments, like the work environment that I have been in as of late, um, it started out as more of the what's the second one called? The fight or flight one.
Sympathetic.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think I even said. I just.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. But I feel like I started out more so in that one where I was just like fight or flight, like trying to kind of just like I don't know, like just like living in that state. And then as things got worse and progressed, I got more so into was it the dorsal one?
The like dead inside.
Yeah. And just like I
Going
have
through
nowhere to
motions,
go.
like,
Yeah.
on the eyes.
And I'm just like trapped and like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like the hardest one to get out of. Quote me. But
I bet. Because it's like,
it's
well, it's like you get to a point where you're like, okay, like what are my options here? Like I don't have anything else to do. Yeah.
and I think it's like because it's like such an inactive one. That's why it's the hardest to get out of because you're just like
You have no like
yeah, like just waiting till it's over. But how do you pull yourself out when you're experiencing that?
yeah. That's a hard question. Yeah. And it's like, how do you?
I think like a toxic work environment is a good example of where you feel those ones you don't want.
Yeah.
Like I think being in the fight or flight kind of high anxiety scanning for threats is the whole like that whole culture. And so that's
Like
why it's
stepping
so
on
exhausting.
eggshells and like, oh, what am I gonna get today?
Yeah, because it's
Like,
built around that,
Mhm.
like literal threats being like looming all the time, and you're like,
It's gonna be a collaborative environment, or am I gonna get my ass chewed out?
right,
Like,
yeah,
you just never know.
you never know. And like
Yeah.
the stakes are high, right? You want to like keep your job, your stability, your income, and that is leveraged against you too at times. So I also, if I make you go again for a second, I was also reading this book, Neil, something with a P. Anyway, it's like, no, I remember what that book is called. Something about happiness. Anyway,
Okay.
he's talking about how your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex like are at war with each other when you're in situations where you have to like scan for threats and be super heightened, but you also have to like solve complex problems. So like if you get a project at work last minute and it's like or someone's like, oh, you didn't know that was on the calendar today, you have to do that right now, and you're like, what? Like so you're all amped up on both sides, and that's also why like you would come home or really you'd come to the gym at the end of the day and just be like wiped out because you just had to function so hard in that like little bit of time. Like
for why? And it's like it's so crazy how the body will just like your body knows so much more about what your everyday like life than you realize and holds on to so many things so much more than you realize. Like even I can even feel it in my
that's a really commonplace the whole time.
yeah, she's tight.
I came to the gym after work one day, one of these days where my amygdala and prefrontal cortex were just
at war.
at war. And I got there and I was warming up for the warm up. I don't know if I talked about this last time. And I just like, yeah, all I did was like turn my head and they like pinched a nerve in my neck. Yeah, the thing was, and then I was like on the bike and happier. I was like, that was okay. If there was a time where it was like your body's telling you to like
slow
stop,
down.
I was like, fine. But I was mad.
Have you gotten better at like listening to your body to tell you to slow down?
Oh yeah,
That's good.
I think maybe I touched on that a little bit last time too. I was like,
yeah,
my whole relationship with the gym has changed. When I didn't have access to it, I realized how much I was getting from it community wise, and I wanted that. So even when I knew I wasn't like well enough to go back, I was like, I'm gonna go back as long as like my contract with myself was like, you're not gonna do what you're doing before.
Yeah.
Not now. Yeah. When I get hurt, I don't get panicky anymore or stressed
That's
or
good.
like
There
this
was
is
such an
definitely a time.
inconvenience.
Yes. I was like, well, if I don't have the gym, then I don't do that. I'm like, no, I have the gym. You can almost always do something. There was a time I couldn't, but like you can still go.
Just
Or you
show
can talk
up.
to your
Yeah.
people. Like there's something it still offers you.
Show up, sit on a bike, stretch.
Yeah. Or
Do a
like
little.
I don't know, like DM your friends from it. Like if you're a bedroom,
Yeah.
like reach out to your community. Like there's always I had to get to the root of like what's the purpose of this for me, and it wasn't like for aesthetic. I was never like, well, I want to like make sure I look ripped or this or that. No, I want to be able to get up from the floor.
And
Like you know, like I do like the whole functional fitness element of CrossFit.
So when was like a time where you knew your body was telling you to stop, and like how did you know?
So many.
So many to choose from.
Yeah, I have gotten more into, and
good.
so like again, like not resisting the signs and signals. That was hard for me, especially like so one. I guess one example is towards the end of my IVF journey. One of the procedures I had to have at that point, it, I don't know if this is like, no, I do know that this is women's health and medicine. Like, they're like, it's just this, you don't have to go under, like, we're just gonna like, whenever you say you're gonna go inside and scrape or prod or take or move, like, why are we not sedated for this? Like that is traumatic. And I've gone through I was never the person to go to that kind of like to a gynecologist or anything and be like super anxious about it. I know a lot of people get like nervous, but I like through all the procedures I've been having, I just kept getting increasingly more like tense and like a little panicky, and I was like, but like breathing through it, like whatever, like this is something I want to do, like just keep going, like. And this last procedure was I I don't know if it was that the procedure so painful or that like my response, like my nervous system response during it was so, I felt like CIA torture pain. Like I was screaming. I was in hives. I was like, I've never involuntarily felt like I cry a lot, but I've never felt like tears flowing out of my face.
Like uncontrollably.
Yeah.
I do remember you talking.
And like a nurse had to come in and like hold me while they were like finishing. I had hives. I sweat through my clothes, and I was like trembling for the rest of the day. Maybe the next day. I was like, that was crazy. What? No. Like, and I just couldn't even. I was at a point where it was like, with like the timing of everything, I was supposed to have like start like prepping. I was like prepping for my next transfer, so that's where they like implant the embryo, and I just was having a hard time. I was like, I don't even know if I can go into a doctor's office, like, and that's not even a really relatively invasive procedure. I say relative, like women's procedure, because they're all pretty invasive. Like when it comes to that, I was having a really hard time. Like when I would think about it, I would like I feel right now, like I can feel like how I felt when that happened, and I was like, I just knew like I needed a break, and that was really hard too because there's so much at stake. You've spent so much money. The timing is so important, and poor Joe, like he literally met me like 2 weeks after this, so that was one where I was like. I just knew I had to stop. I didn't know what the next move was, but I was like, I really have to think about this. Like, I can't. Like, my body's like, no.
Yeah.
And so, even from then, like, I ended up in like pelvic floor therapy, and that's the PT I was saying was like always like she was very good and thorough and like getting to the root of things. I told her a bit about the history. She's like, wow, like, like your pelvic floor, and I had like a surgery in my abdomen like the year prior to. She's like, all of those things like are making this part of your body so tense, like to protect you. Like I literally was like crying when she was telling me this. She's like, it's just like, and this is me like appreciating my body for like, yeah, it's responding and it feels pain and traumatic, but then it's protecting you. Like
Mhm.
my arm kisses. I was like, I'm so proud of you.
I
Like,
did that the other
you
day.
did.
Yeah, I did it like it was at work, so I did the hand, and I was
Doesn't it
like,
kind of
oh yeah. I was like, I'm just curious.
yeah, that was definitely a time. I was like, oh, okay. And then I mean the rest and I mean, yeah, like I I don't know. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like
I
that
guess it's
things
also
needed
just
to
like,
stop and it just wasn't meant to be that way. But I couldn't force anything anymore. Like my body, I and we push our bodies to the limit in so many ways.
yeah.
I'm like, no, like, but I that was the most obvious, like,
And you
you
need
cannot.
you need to know when to like listen to your body and like stay in tune with your body and know like
Don't let it get to that
yeah.
point. Not that
It's
I
always
let it
telling
like I
you.
just was like, hey, I can do this. Like it's very like the feminine urge to fight through everything, right? And be
Mhm.
super strong and not just the urge, the expectation. Like to be like, it's it's
Yeah.
fine, just one more thing. Like we're brave, we're bred like we're built for this. But we shouldn't be. Like
Yeah.
that's too much. I have to like
It's like
check in.
yeah, stay in tune.
And I was like, at this point, or at that point, I was like, now I just need to like take care of myself. And I can still be brave to take steps forward, but I can't go at the speed I was
And it's
and
like
at the effort.
yeah, and it's like if your body's doing something that's like not normal, like take a hint.
Yeah. And I don't know, I felt really like, the doctors, I felt not even that phased. They were like, that was a really unusual response.
And you're like, are you not
But
concerned?
it kind of felt like you'll be okay. Like it was nothing. And I'm like, that's where I felt like sometimes I feel we're like not considering like
All the
the other
factors.
elements. Because yeah, maybe the physical, like what was physically happening wasn't enough to create that they would expect that kind of like reaction. But there were all these physiological like or emotional things attached that made
Like the
my body
pressure.
feel that that's
Yeah.
real.
The
Like
pressure, like whether it was like in your relationship or like to have a baby, like
and just like the constant poking and prodding
yeah.
and like successes and failures and like things that
Emotional roller coaster.
yeah. I would say for anything because like the ones that are like smaller scale, I'm signaled by being like, I don't understand. On paper, I'm doing everything right, but I'm still not getting the result I wanted. And so that's when I kind of like sit back and like reevaluate the other things. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I think some things like when my body is like screaming at me and being like, slow down, lights flashing. I think some things I find very helpful is like one, like I like to prioritize daily movement. I think some things that like when my body is like lights flashing, like please stop screaming, like you need to take a break and rest. Um, I think I really like to prioritize daily movement. I think that is just like for me very healing and like especially just like my friends and I used to do like mental health stomps when I lived in West Virginia, and it was so fun because we would do like our Wednesday night, and we did it like when it was nice out, but also when it was cold out, and there was just something about like still getting like vitamin D even like in winter up there, and like
yeah, that seasonal depression is tough.
yeah, but just like being outside, the leaves fall, it's just like touching grass, so healing. So I do some daily movement. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like an intense workout every day, but like take a walk, go for a stomp. um, just like do something that's just like for you. And then like on that same tip again, hippy dippy, but food is medicine, so fuel your body. Like I used to be so bad about drinking water, but like so bad. So I started like every day with electrolytes. And I noticed that has like really made a difference for like my migraines and just like being hydrated and just like even generally when I'm like feeling like weak and But prioritizing that, especially when my body's like, if I can't do all the things I'm normally doing, I think just like going back to like good solid stomp and some water and some good like whole foods.
Or just like plants.
Yeah.
Food like water.
It's,
Just need to focus on desires.
that's yeah. But what about you?
When I get to those points, I surrender. I'm like, okay. Like, I am not the person really, unless it's like a traumatic injury, I'm not that phased anymore by, I'm like, okay, well, I have this limitation right now, but, luckily it's temporary and oh my God, there's other stuff I can do to feel better. I try not to force anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's big for me. I'm just like, it doesn't mean that I won't push in a workout but I know the days where it's like, this isn't the day to push.
Yeah.
But it does make those days really exciting when I do. I'm like, oh, I actually feel good today. Like, and then you hurt my wrist. But
you also did that when we did the overhead squats that one day too.
what did I hurt?
You didn't hurt anything,
Oh.
but you were just like, oh my God, this is so fun. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
like continued to build like a half hour after class.
Oh yeah. That was really satisfying for me because that used to be a really good movement for me and it was one that just like easy to lose. Like probably the hardest lift other than like a snatch. But yeah, I just like when my relationship changed with like our sport or like activity in general, like, from having just like a really brief moment of not being able to do those things to coming back, like really appreciating that and just being like, I'll take what I can get today.
Yeah.
And then of course, I journal and meditate. And that slows me down in a way I need because like
Yeah.
it's so easy to run on autopilot and push and push and push through things. I still do it all the time.
Mhm.
But when I feel myself about to short circuit, I'm like, I'm trying to meditate. It doesn't always, it's not like how I thought it would. I thought like meditating is like, oh, very like, oh, kind of thing. Like,
That's what I have in my head.
No, but like just laying there still. And it's not like to turn your mind off. It's just like, you can let like the thoughts run through, but try to like, yeah. And like, I used to go to like the work gym, like on my lunch break. And I was like, I'm just doing Shavasana. I was like, you're just laying. I'm like, no, I do Shavasana.
It's cute.
It's like on my back, on a mat. And I'm like doing something that looks more productive, but that's productive for me. I was like, I just need to be still.
Mental clarity.
And be quiet inside. And it does help just like have a little clarity.
Yeah.
That does help me so much. Every time I think I'm crazy, I usually But those are the things I do. I would say like the first step for anyone is getting to know your body. Like it took me a long time to be like, this is normal. Like you get used to powering through, pushing through, physically and emotionally. But there will be signs.
Like there are always signs.
Look, it's so weird.
Hindsight is always 20/20, but
I'm just like being in tune with yourself is really important because then if you're not, then you don't even know how to address it. Like you won't even know something's wrong enough until it's too wrong. And that's always been like
hard lessons.
That's how I've learned anything and everything besides podcasts and books. But I'm like, that wasn't right, was it? Like after the fact. But yeah, this would be my takeaways. Don't force anything.
Nice. Yeah.
Know what the body needs.
Yeah. She's a temple.
We disrespecters. Like I was like, we're talking about honoring, like we're like, listen to your body. This morning I woke up from like going to sleep past anyone's bedtime. And it wasn't on my worst behavior list. I was like,
yeah.
I was
well
like,
behaved.
Very mid on the like scale. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. But I was like, I definitely would have needed more sleep. And I woke up and I was like, oh, here I have a matcha latte. And now I'm healed. Debauchery and no sleep all weekend. But then I'm like, an eye mask and my matcha latte. I was like, yeah.
You didn't
so healthy. I did not watch it. It was just like, eye mask on top of my makeup. I arrived to Brooks. I mean, our studio. I arrived to our studio and was like, I'm still wearing last night's makeup and more makeup. Like, I felt I looked like I was ready to be buried.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot here. There's a lot we talk about. There's so much more to talk about. But we are starting this new thing called Crash Out Chronicles. You've probably heard about it on our previous eps and on our social media. But we really want to hear from you guys, so feel free to send us your crush outs, most chaotic stories, or like even like ways like your body has like just like completely been like stop. So you can either slide into our DMs at We Are Crying at the Gym, tag us in posts, yeah, just like
I think we'll do like a story submission. You can do each week, like weekly.
Yeah.
If you want to drop it there, you can be anonymous.
Oh, we do have an email too now.
Yeah. What is it?
Podcast at cryinghatthegym.com.
It is.
Yeah, so email it to us.
Oh,
Send us a voice note.
So official. Oh yeah, we love a voice note, especially if you're a good storyteller.
Mm-hmm. Or let us know if you want us to read it and be anonymous.
I've been personally like tapping people on the shoulder, like, I want your story because I know you have some.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so find us on socials. At We Are Crying at the Gym. Send us your Crash Out Chronicles. But yeah, in the meantime,
we'll be crying at the gym and just doing our best. Wait.